Welcome to We Are the Hansons. Oh, yeah. Can you feel it? Can you feel it, Maya?
Oh, I can feel it.
Yeah, does it feel good? It's an important topic today. Secrets to staying together. We got a few tricks up our sleeves. It's like right at the pinnacle of 22 years you've had the pleasure of being with me.
That's the other way around.
Well, it may be, but 22 years. That's a long time, but it's not near as long as some of the people we know with 50, 55 years being married. Now, it's work, but, it's fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, my mom and dad are a prime example of that.
Yeah, man, how many years?
I don't even know.
It's a lot.
I've lost count.
A lot. And guess what? The secrets to staying together, it's not that you don't fight. We're proof of that.
Yeah,
your parents
for
are
sure.
proof of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just the things. The things. I think that we take for granted today. What do you think?
I think so.
You think so? Yeah, I'm just feeling this. I'm not feeling it up. No,
Something else.
the key. Okay, what's your secret? Tell me. Come on, tell us the secret. What's your secret to keeping things together?
You got to be strong.
Is it strong?
Oh, you got to be strong.
I mean,
we've been through a lot of stuff.
Oh, we've been through a lot of stuff, but do you think that's the secret to staying together?
Well, what's your secret?
Well, I asked you first.
Well, I want to hear yours.
Yeah, well, of course, because it makes it easier. No, for those of you that don't know, I'm going to tell you, this is how we met. I was actually going through a divorce. My ex-wife had moved out of the house, and it had been 3, 4, 5 months. And I just started getting lonely talking to people. It was just me and my kids at home at the time. And, she wasn't around. So just, as an adult, it gets lonely. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I started talking just with random people, and I met you on Wisconsin Chat 4, I think, or was it 8?
It was 6.
6, 4, 6, 8. It was an even number. I knew that.
It was on Yahoo Chat. Yep.
Yeah, Yahoo Chat, and we started talking, and we became friends. I mean, just talking normally, and then it was like, God, I think I was 22, 23. You were 16 or 17. This is when we became friends. We'd never met each other. We had a few other. We were in a friend group on there.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird. I had met your dad before that. Small town, Midwestern stuff. And it was a couple years after that we actually met. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So, when you come into a relationship, especially a internet relationship, people make fun of that all the time. You don't really know what to expect, do you?
No.
So anyways, folks, so this one girl that I was seeing at the time, different than you. I had stopped down. We had met and stuff, and we had became friends. And just one day, you said, "Hey, I'm coming with you up to your house this weekend." You remember that?
I do remember that.
And again, it was just friendship at that point.
Yes.
And I had a friend, and you had a friend. And you know how the friend thing goes. And we went up that weekend, and I knew at that point that, I liked you as more than a friend. But I really wasn't pushing the limits of dating anybody just because of the horror show that I was going through at that time.
Yep. And we kind of just hit it off, I guess.
Well, we did. And you had the same thing. You were like, man, this guy is hot. Right? I mean, that's what you thought, right? Was I like a cute geek, or was I like, you had a nickname for me. Do you remember what it was?
Prince Charming.
That's right, because I still am.
Yeah.
So anyways, just for a little backdrop, that's how we got together. Maybe we'll do a whole show because we could go for hours just talking about that. It was fun. Um, it was, very sporadic, like just out of the blue type stuff. But when me and you got together, it was kind of weird. We were like pieces in a puzzle. And I knew what I wanted, and you knew what you wanted. And we kind of just agreed. I mean, it wasn't like a thing that we had to talk through or anything like that. This is what we wanted out of a relationship. And I think at first, you didn't really think that it was going to last very long because you thought I was a player.
I did. I thought you were because you had a lot of chicks digging you.
Yeah, but I wasn't dating all of them. I mean, just
Well, that I know of, you weren't.
well, no, I mean, it was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And, so we started dating, and it was like just fast and furious from the beginning. It was, since that day, we really haven't had that many days away from each other.
No, most of our days spent away is whether it was work or you going to the races.
Right. And I mean, that was it, except for the few times I joined the Hugh Scow. And we'll get into that too, because that was a real hard time for you. We're not perfect people, never claimed to be. We both came from chaotic backgrounds. We both had a bunch of turmoil going on. Now, we were friends, so I knew that you were pregnant when we got together.
Yes.
Okay, so that was one of the things that everybody, I think at least we thought when we looked out and everybody looked at us, they thought, okay, well, this guy is going through a really bad divorce, and this girl just got knocked up by somebody else. There's no way they're going to make it, right?
That was how it was too.
Right. Oh man, we got some looks, like
People
you wouldn't
running their
believe.
mouth.
Yeah, whatever. But the thing is I felt like I had from the very beginning, I felt like, you know what? I really like this girl, and I probably trust this girl more than I should, but there was just something that I felt there about that. Were you the same way?
Loyalty, probably.
Yeah, just loyalty. I'd never really felt that type of loyalty. And loyalty, number one, if you want to stay together, you have to be loyal. If you're not loyal, if your partner's not loyal, don't waste your time.
Yep. And you got to prioritize each other.
Right. Well, and that's just part of the loyalty. Like, if you don't have loyalty, you don't have a relationship.
Nope.
Like, the easiest thing in the world in a relationship is not to cheat on the other person. Is it not?
That is.
I mean, that's so simple, but yet not everybody can figure it out, can they?
No.
I don't know why, but loyalty, you have to have loyalty. And the second thing is, in a relationship, and obviously it grows, it's not from day one that you have this, but you kind of meld into it and you kind of have ideas for your future. So I think probably our biggest secret of all. Okay, are you ready?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay, and it's not that. Commitment over feelings. There was a lot of times that I had hurt feelings, or maybe she had hurt feelings. But in today's society, all you see is, well, I feel this way. I feel that way. You never hear people say, well, I made a commitment, do you?
No.
And the truth is, if you don't put commitment before feelings, you can never have anything, because commitment is a choice. Sometimes the way you feel is not a choice, right?
That's right. Communication is everything too.
I agree with that. Communication. But that's all part of commitment. So if you know what you want and there's loyalty there, obviously, if you have commitment, you're going to go somewhere, even though your feelings will, go back and forth over time. And people all the time talk about their feelings. And you see a lot of marriages where one or the other, the husband or the wife, it's usually the wife, will say, well, I feel like I need to do this. And they leave their whole family.
Yep.
They leave their husband, they usually take their kids with them, but they're absent a lot. You see this with men too, But the thing is because they're leading all of their choices with feelings instead of leading their choices with commitment. And if you are committed to something, guess what? Eventually, if you stay committed, you're going to get through the thing like feelings that are going to fluctuate.
Yep. And commitment is also like you have to choose each other. And even when things get hard, you still got to battle through it.
Right. It is what it is. It's the hard times. And I don't care if you're talking about you personally. I don't care if you're talking about a marriage. I don't care if you're talking about a family. I don't even care if you're talking about business. It's hard times that define you.
Yeah.
Because anybody can get through the easy times with anything. Easy times are easy. They don't define you. As a matter of fact, it's like a day off. It's the hard times. It's the committed times. It's the sacrifice times. It's those who define you, and it's those times that create the legacy that you're going to leave behind.
I think with all the struggles we've been through, I think that's what made us stronger.
I think it's the struggles, and I also think it's how we dealt with them. I think in the hard times, especially the hard times, you learn how to deal with something going forward. And I think that it gives you a little bit of self-confidence knowing that you've had to dig through something. You've had to be, extra smart or use resources or develop new resources. One of the things that I really liked, I would say my grandmother was a huge secret of mine. That was like my secret weapon. And I remember when she told me, she's like, I really like her. Well, that was it for me. That was it. Well, if grandma approves, that's it. I remember my dad saying, I've talked to her for one day and I've spoken more to her than my ex in 8 years.
Yep.
That's
I
what he said.
remember that.
So, I think that family approval, even though family and what they say really have nothing to do with you being happy in your life, except for it does.
Yeah. And you're supposed to like grow together rather than apart. So even during struggles and hard times, whether you have a family member that doesn't like the other person, it's not their life to live, it's yours. So,
Right. And, with commitment, that means that you can't be a quitter. Okay. And some people are just not mentally prepared, emotionally prepared. Some people are not at that point in their life. But I was 24, you were 18, and somehow we were both at the point in our life that this is what we want.
yep.
So we didn't do stupid stuff like I see people and I see couples all the time that they go out drinking, and usually they don't go out together. Usually I'm going with the girls and you go with the boys.
It doesn't work.
It'll never work. People say, well, that's where you develop trust. Okay, no, that's where you lose trust.
You lose trust and you lose your companion because, alcohol is a big problem in a relationship.
Right. I don't say that. I'm not saying alcohol makes you make decisions that are bad. But what I am saying is it can influence, the prohibitions that yourself that you put up. It changes those a little bit. Like it kind of lets your guard down a little bit. And we never really did stuff like that. I would go, I remember 3-4 times that I went with my friends in the 22 years that we've been together.
Yeah, roughly.
I'm talking about going out and having a few beers, without you, just me.
Most of the time you went out, it was with family.
Right. So, because I really didn't have that desire to go out and get drunk or anything like that. Not that I didn't tie on a couple while we were together, but most of the time it was when we were together, like physically at a bar. I'll give you a perfect example. So we're pretty young in our relationship, and we're sitting at the bar. I think we had cheese curds, burgers, and I had a beer, and I think you hardly ever drank, literally.
I had a soda because I was pregnant with Morgan.
And we're sitting there, and this drunk girl comes up, and she just really starts flirting with me. And I was kind of getting angry because I'm like, I'm sitting here with my girlfriend, and this girl sees it, and I could tell it was making you mad. And she was like just inebriated. And she came up, what do you think of me? And I was not very nice, but I made you feel good in saying what I did, right?
Yeah.
Because I already had committed to you and I'm with you. Okay, so that makes a difference. It's not like you're going to be in a knight in shining armor. You are doing what you're supposed to do to make the other person feel at ease. I was communicating to you without communicating to you.
Yes.
That, hey, you're important to me, right?
Yep.
Okay, so, and I do think you're right. I think communication is paramount in any relationship. If you're going to stay together, you better be ready to communicate. And it is so hard to communicate, especially with an angry girlfriend or an angry wife.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, remember, the Bible says, hell hath no fury like a scorned woman. So literally, there is nothing in hell that's worse than what you can go through. But usually, I'm not saying all the time, but usually if a girlfriend or something like that is that mad at you, she's probably, at least in her own mind, got a valid reason for it.
Yep. I would have to say you're right, just because we don't just get mad to get mad. There's always a reason.
Right. And, I think as a guy in the relationship, if you want to make it last, you have to learn the unspoken language of lady.
Do you
Right?
know that language?
I absolutely know that language.
I don't know.
Let me give the guys a couple pointers. If you notice that your significant other, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, that she just doesn't seem like she's in a very happy mood. As a matter of fact, she gets to be a little pointed in what she says. And you say, what's wrong? And she says nothing. There is definitely something wrong. Am I wrong?
Sometimes.
All the time.
No.
Okay.
Because
Guys,
sometimes there isn't anything wrong, and you asking just makes things wrong.
okay. So what you're saying is, see, this is all part of communicating in lady. Us wanting to communicate with you can have a drawback. If we ask you the wrong thing, the communication can be the dagger.
No.
Okay. Explain this to me, please.
Okay. So if you think something's wrong and you question me, and then you say, no, there is something wrong, that just makes us madder. Because
Well, hang on a second. You weren't mad to begin with. I'm throwing you nuggets here,
No.
guys. I'm telling you.
I was-
I've learned it. I've figured it out.
No, if you say, if I continue to hound you and say, what's wrong? Or is there something wrong? And you say no, it should be done. If you continue to antagonize and question, then there's going to be something wrong because you're going to drive us nuts.
Well, just listen to me, guys. I'm telling you the truth, and I'm a king when it comes to this. Okay, I've been down the battlefield, and I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about.
Not every woman is the same.
Not every woman is the same, but all good women usually think alike.
No, I'll just say it.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
A lot of women won't. I will. I'll just tell it how
Well,
it is.
yeah, but you can always tell. I mean, if you've got a connection and you're committed to the other person and, you've got this idea of where you want to go, usually people can tell. Sometimes there's people like me where I don't really want to, I don't want to fight it out. I don't want to deal with it. Sometimes I need to decompartmentalize what I'm thinking. Just go for a walk, maybe go for a ride, come back, then talk about it. Where you're definitely the type of person where you're like, ding, ding, it's on, let's fight this out.
Yeah, probably.
And I know that, and I mean, you know that. So it helped us in communicating. Now, we both had to have flexibility going back and forth.
Respect and appreciation is another one.
Right. And sometimes just misunderstandings. If you don't talk about things, if you don't get to the core, even the little things, they just pile up and pile up and pile up. That's why it's so important to have good communication. But just learn how your partner communicates. And guys, I'm telling you, I think that listening is probably the one thing in the guy's repertoire that needs to be fixed more than anything. If you want to know a secret about staying together with your wife, it's that you really do need to listen to what they say. Now, they won't even admit that they say some things, but you need to have that so you can try to understand what they're communicating to you. And there's other crazy stuff that you don't know about. And my family has told me some of this, that like sometimes a lady just wants to talk to you. They just want to get things off their chest. They don't want you to fix a problem. And that is a very big learning curve for men, because when we talk, we're logical. We're very logical. So if there's a problem, we want to fix the problem. Now, sometimes your significant other, your girlfriend, your wife, they just want you to listen, which doesn't make any sense to a guy. Like, why are you wasting the breath to talk if you don't want a solution? But that's the way that a lot of significant others are, is they just want to know that you're there to listen to them so they can confide something in you, so they can tell you about their problems at work. They don't want you to fix them. They don't want you to tell them how to fix them. They just want to be able to tell you that. That is something that men need to learn, that I wish I would have learned a long time ago. And it's one of those taboo subjects that you're not supposed to bring up, because there's a difference between, women and men in that regard. And that's one of them. You have to be a good listener. And sometimes you have to pick your battles of when you're going to try to help and when you're not.
I don't know. I don't think a lot of men listen.
Oh, we don't. That's what I'm saying. We need to learn to become better listeners. And that's something that I'm continually in progress of listening and learning. Sometimes you got to store those nuggets away.
No, we just need to clean your ears out better.
I think one of the things about staying together is just supporting each other. Like, we've both had different goals along our path. Sometimes I've agreed. Other times I haven't agreed. But the one thing that hasn't changed is my support for what you wanted to do, or how you wanted to grow, or maybe it was a business you wanted to start, or, something you wanted to do with our children. But that started way back then.
It's almost like a safe space where you can depend on going to that other person and them listening to you.
Right.
And
because
understanding.
Right. I mean, we are our own people, but we're also a team. And you want to be the best person you can be, but you also want to be the best team you can be. Like, those two, you'll get steamrolled if you get in their way, that type of thing.
And it also teaches our kids like how to go through their relationships. And I think we've done a pretty good job.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, we're kind of like an open book. Everybody's kind of known us. And there's been a couple times in our relationships where we really struggled. And there was probably one time where divorce was even in our heads. But we got through the hardest one we got through. And we had to use Pastor Jeff, which I do not recommend going to most counselors. You go to most relationship counselors and they're like on their third marriage and, do as I say, not as I do type people. But Pastor Jeff was really good for us, and he kind of centered us, where I think at that time our communication level had dropped a lot. I think that respect and appreciation for each other, just because we were both working so much, we never saw each other. And that was a year and a half, 2 years straight.
Mm-hmm.
And it just got very, very hard from that aspect. I mean, most people won't say this. And, kids, if there's kids around, cover your ears. But are the kids' ears covered? Because sex is very important. That physical connection that you have is very, very important to your relationship. And, you can kind of play games with it when you're married and stuff. But one of the secrets to staying together is to make sure that the other person is satisfied, especially when it comes to the bedroom, especially when it comes to conversation and communication. It's like the whole sphere of things.
Yes. You got to make sure everybody's happy.
Yeah, I think so too. it's it's one of those things that if that part stops, then all these other things start creeping in. I'll give you an example. If you are happy in the bedroom, okay, and then all of a sudden that stops or slows way down, even if you trust that other person, even if you are communicating with that other person, there's something in your brain that always says, okay, something's wrong.
Yeah. And it could be maybe you feel like they're cheating on you, or maybe you feel they're not interested in you anymore, or something.
Yeah. Or, you guys are going your separate ways. I mean, doubt creeps in, and that's a very important thing. And you'll never hear hardly anybody else talk about that, but it's something very, very important. If you're going to support each other in their business, if you're going to support each other when it comes to them being a mother, like you got to stand behind each other, or whether it's with family or anything, all of them have their time and place. And I think at the very core, usually the reason that people got together is, first of all, they thought this person was hot. Okay. Because there has to be physical attraction, because if there's not physical attraction, then you're just friends.
Yep.
You're
And
just roommates.
emotional.
Yeah. And the emotional attraction also. And if you start losing that, that's like the foundational basis of, the instinctual carnal being that you are. And right away, I think your body sends up red flags.
Yeah. And you can't let others get involved in your relationship.
No, and I think that's really easy to do. It's always easier to talk to somebody else. Like I notice young people do this a lot. Have you ever noticed, and this may be somebody listening to this, you get into an argument or a big fight with your girlfriend, your wife, whatever. The first thing each of you do is go to your friends and talk about it. And the reason that is because it's like, okay, well, I'm going to get them on my side.
I'm not like that. I don't call anybody.
No, you're not, but most people do. We didn't really deal with that a lot because we were always communicating together. So what do you think?
I think everybody goes through struggles. And I think when you choose to pick up that phone to call somebody, whether it be a family member or a friend, you turn your family or your friends against your significant other. It happens all the time.
Yeah, and that's, if that happens, you're either going to alienate the person that you're with, or you're going to have to alienate your family later.
Yes.
That's 99% of the time. That's the way that it works.
We've seen that a lot.
Right. I think that one of the secrets that isn't really a secret is you have to learn how to forgive. And as perfect as you think you are, you're always going to make a mistake. You're going to do something stupid. It could be hurtful words. It could be a white lie. It could be anything from them. But you truly have to forgive. And, not like that country song that says, bury the hatchet, but leave the handle sticking out. I see that happen a lot in especially young people's lives. Like they'll do something stupid. And then 3-4 years later, they'll get into an argument, and then that thing gets brought up again. And what that does, it's self-defeating. Like you're carrying this grudge, you're not allowing your relationship to, be good and be happy. What do you think?
I think there are certain things that aren't forgivable, like cheating.
Yeah, cheating's an unforgivable one. What else would be?
Mm,
There's very few.
like
but
talking to another woman when you're married.
I think that has levels. Cheating is different. Cheating is just, if you're going to cheat,
Yeah,
you're
but
going to cheat.
cheating it's pretty close to the same thing if you're talking to another woman. Not about just like business stuff or something.
You're
like
talking
that.
about like pre-cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that can be the same thing. But then that comes again to communication, Is this making your partner uncomfortable? Are you willing to sacrifice what's making them uncomfortable? And do you think as, that person, is it reasonable at that point? And I think that goes into a lot of things, what do you think if a person went and made a financial decision and then lied about it and it harmed somebody else?
I don't think that's grounds for not forgiving, but I think it'd take time to
be able to forgive,
yes.
for real forgive. Yeah. It's so important, and people don't do this anymore because there's so much individualism and about me today. But truly, in order to be happy, I think that humans at their center are about service, not like in the like slave or she's my wife, go make me a sandwich, or he's my husband, go shovel the driveway. Not that type of service. I'm talking about the selfless service that is an act of love when it comes between two people. Like, she's got my back and I know that, and I've got her back and she knows that. And it's the little things of service that actually make you feel better in your relationship. And I think that's something that you learn, that, hey, you know what? When I make her happy, that makes me feel pretty good.
Yeah. And it, like, even like family members, when they try to get involved, it's always it's my life, my relationship, I'll deal with it. You always have to put them aside and tell them, like,
yeah, well, either side. Yeah. I mean, it's just, you have a place that you're going with your life, with your relationship, with the things. So as long as you have that centered with that person, and you're practicing this type of, support and communication and commitment and respect and appreciating your partner, you're learning how to forgive at a big level. You're keeping the intimacy between you alive, and you're remembering why you started. It shouldn't matter who tries to come in between your relationship, as long as you're willing to put an end to whatever threatens the commitment you made in the beginning.
yes.
So those, I think, are the secrets that have kept our marriage together for this long and happy for this long. And I think that above everything else that I said today, obviously communication's right up there. Intimacy is way up there. But being of service to your best friend and, your lover, being of service to them is probably the greatest honor that you're going to have on this earth, besides being a good parent, in my opinion.
Yes. And you never stop dating.
Right. You got to make them, if it's a woman, you got to make them feel like a lady. It is what it is. And I'm telling you, as a guy, a man has to feel respected. The minute that a man doesn't feel respected, everything shuts off. His communication doorway, his compartmentalizing feelings, everything shuts off, because that is a defense mechanism in most men. And, women have other ones. So I know a lot of people say this, but women need communication, women need love, men need respect, and men need loyalty. And if those things are taken care of, everything else can work itself out.
Yes. But women also need respect and loyalty as well.
Right. It's just, I don't think it's the top two for them. I think it's communication is number one, and love is number two. And with men, it's definitely respect and loyalty, number 1 and 2. So that's kind of our secrets for staying together. If you want to ask us a question, if it's something that we didn't cover good or whatever, tell them the email.
It is wearethehansonsshow@gmail.com, or you can send us a message on Facebook on our We Are the Hanson page. And please go subscribe to our We Are the Hansons YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think wearethehansons.com, is it?
Yes.
It's supposed to be live this week. You get to go there. You get to read about things. You get different articles. I'm telling you, we have some darn good recipes that are coming out there. Some things that we're doing, some places we're traveling, some things we're looking into, if you know what I'm saying. So
Some live videos.
yeah, some live videos, some, kind of like just average, like what we do videos, and then some really freaking cool videos.
Yes. Thank you for joining in tonight, guys.
Absolutely. We love you.